JBN, we keep you informed. Woman shot dead, man injured on Regent Street in Kingston. Another woman was shot dead by gunmen Sunday night. She has been identified as 54-year-old Donna Brathwaite, a resident of Regent Street, Kingston 14. About 7:30, Miss Brathwaite was walking when gunmen fired at a man at the intersection of Regent Street and Percy Street. Both persons were shot. Miss Brathwaite was pronounced dead at hospital and the man admitted in serious condition. Data obtained show that gunmen killed 5 persons and injured 8 others between Sunday and Monday morning. The incident occurred in the St. James, Kingston West, Trelawney, Manchester, St. Andrew Central and St. Catherine North police divisions. According to the Jamaica Constabulary Force Periodic Serious and Violent Crimes Review, there have been more than 170 murders in the country since the start of the year. The vast majority of the murders, 103, were committed in the parishes of Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Catherine. The St. Andrew North Police Division, with 18 murders, is the deadliest place on the island so far. It is followed closely by St. Catherine South and St. Andrew South and Central with 17 murders each. Portland with no murder and 1 shooting, and St. Thomas with 1 murder and 3 shootings are the 2 calmest police divisions thus far. Meanwhile, the police data indicate declines in all major crimes except murder across the island. Reports of rape are down 35%. Aggravated assault is down 10% and shooting 11.4%. The police data also revealed that fewer people are being arrested and charged with crimes. Some 1,339 persons were arrested and charged in the first 46 days of the year, compared to 1,681 over the corresponding period last year. In fact, the number of arrests is the lowest in the past 4 years. The recovery of guns are also the lowest in 4 years, with 79 guns recovered in the first 46 days of the year, compared to 89 in the corresponding period last year, and an identical 124 in 2018 and 2017. Teachers want better security after armed men visited Eltham High. Teachers at Eltham High School in St. Catherine are lamenting the need for better security measures following Monday's incident in which armed men entered the school premises. The teachers had a sit-down demonstration to protest inadequate security measures at the school after men, along with current and former students, entered the compound in an attempt to attack another student. It is believed that the incident began in morning devotion when 2 grade 10 students got into a fight. One of the students is alleged to have called his friends for backup. No one is injured. While speaking on Monday, one teacher, who did not wish to be named, described the atmosphere in the staff room as tense, while another said, "I felt very scared," as did all members of staff, as what happened was a serious security breach and could have ended with persons being injured or worse, killed. Another teacher expressed shock. "At first I was shocked, then momentarily afraid, wondering what will happen, not just to the students but other staff members. Indiscipline is rampant, but it's not just a school problem but society problem as well. When you have persons with no regards for rules and regulations, it's a recipe for disaster. I believe parents need to do more parenting, and the Education Ministry needs to provide more support and resources for teachers and schools. Listen to the cries of the teachers. Safety and security is a big issue," the teacher charged. Cornwall courts, once wall built after resident killed. Following the murder of one of their beloved community members last Saturday, concerned residents of Cornwall courts in Montego Bay, St. James, are calling on the National Housing Trust to erect a wall to separate them from the volatile Salt Spring area. The residents said that the deceased, who they identified as 56-year-old Sidel Malcolm, affectionately called Sybil, of St. Lucia Crescent, was shot and killed by armed robbers who broke into her family home. One man who hails from Salt Spring has since been taken into custody in connection to her death, but his identity has been withheld pending further investigation. Reports by the Montego Hills Police are that about 3:15 a.m., Malcolm and other family members were asleep when they were awoken by strange sounds coming from a section of the house. The occupants went to investigate and came face to face with a group of armed men who had broken into the house and were stealing items. The men held the family members at gunpoint, but Malcolm stabbed one of the men after they got involved in a tussle. The wounded gunman opened fire, hitting Malcolm multiple times to her upper body before fleeing the scene. Malcolm died after being rushed to the Corner Regional Hospital. The incident was reported to the police, and following an investigation, the suspect was apprehended at hospital after he later turned up for medical attention. Meanwhile, Floyd Itchman, president of the Cornwall Courts Citizen Association, said that a wall would not be a bad idea, but felt it would be useless without the proper security measures. Last Sunday, we had a community meeting over the unfortunate incident, and we all share the family's grief and send our condolences to the entire family, Itchman said. The neighboring community of Salt Spring has always posed a threat to us, and even before the construction of that section of the housing scheme, several robberies had been taking place, so that particular area had always been a prime target for robbers. He added, "I think the best approach is to revitalize the neighborhood watch and the citizen association. We as residents must create a bond with each other, and each one becomes their brother's keeper." Prime Minister says sophisticated national security plan coming. Prime Minister Andrew Holness says the government he leads is crafting a sophisticated, well-thought-out national security plan as part of the strategic national economic growth and development agenda for the island. Holness was speaking last Thursday during the opening of the newly constructed $500 million Jamaica National Service Corps multipurpose building on the grounds of the Jamaica Defence Force JDF Upar Camp. Dubbed Plan Secure Jamaica, it is being shopped as the first part of a two-pronged support system for a peaceful Jamaica. When I say national security, people immediately limit that to crime and violence, but crime and violence is just one element of a national security plan. We have Plan Secure Jamaica. It is the partner to the economic program of Jamaica, because the message of the government runs on two rails. The first being our economic prosperity, and the second rail is peace, Holness said. He said further that Plan Secure Jamaica is to make the country a peaceful place, because there can be no peace without security. Lieutenant General Rocky Meade, the Chief of Defence Staff, said the completion of the work on the building is part of efforts to transform the JDF into an organization capable of changing the culture of violence in Jamaica. He said the JDF has a responsibility to support nation building, not just from the perspective of defense, but in a holistic way. We see ourselves as part of a short, medium, and a long-term plan to help change Jamaica. In the short run, we're assisting the Jamaica Constabulary Force, JCF, to deal with the immediacy of violent crime that we have. In the medium term, we seek to build the capacity of the JDF to better deal with the normalization of the high levels of violence. And in the long run, we are seeking to change this culture of violence. And this JNSC program is critical in that regard. Since the inception of the program in 2017, a total of 3,455 participants have enrolled, and of the graduates, the JDF has retained approximately 70% of those who have completed the year in the regular force. A significant number of those not retained have been placed for work in agencies across government and are being made available to private enterprises. The Prime Minister described the building as a physical manifestation of a dream he had for young people in Jamaica. According to the JCF Periodic Serious Crimes Review, there have been 167 murders since the start of the year, compared to the same period last year when there were 126 killings. The government's approach in pulling youths towards a highly respected JNSC program is a bridge along the path to cauterizing criminality in the country. Holness said the JDF is bringing into its fold young men and women from across Jamaica who otherwise may become recruits for gangs that have their own forms of discipline, their own culture, and their own reward system. Now we're taking in almost 1,000 youngsters per day, and they are being trained. That's 1,000 less potential for gangs, he said. The Holness administration and National Security Minister, Dr. Horace Chang, have been criticized in the past, particularly by the opposition, for not having a national security plan. Fitz Jackson, the opposition spokesman on national security, who was also present at the opening, said he believed it was a tacit acknowledgement that the country is yet without a national crime fighting plan, which the government is now seeking to develop. Regrettably, this is 4 years in office that they are at this stage with so many persons murdered, shot and injured and robbed across the country. Notwithstanding that, we welcome it, although it's late to start that effort. The opposition has been making this call along with other civic groups across the country. The Prime Minister seemingly has become awakened to the importance and urgency of such a plan that can embrace all Jamaica to deal with the problem of crime fighting, Jackson said. JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.